Alright, this has been a long time coming. We're finally going to rank all four Jeepers Creepers movies in the franchise. We'll see how they stack up. So obviously the whole thing with this franchise that is kind of the first two and the second two are kind of split in the camps of people really like or love or at least tolerate the first two, and then everyone pretty much hates and dogs on the three and four because they're pretty bad movies. Most people, I haven't seen anyone yet who would argue that three and four are good movies, but I mean, hey, I'm sure there's some out there. So at the bottom of my list, this might be kind of a controversial pick as the last place, but I'd say that Jeepers Creepers 3 is the worst of these. This is just the movie that I think insults me the most. Kind of just to reiterate what I said in my review for 3 and 4, it's just this movie feels more insulting than 4 because it delivers exactly what I didn't want them to do, and they had the potential for so many better ideas. They had Breck as the creeper. They just had so many better options. They could have really given us a great follow-up to that second movie. It left us in such an interesting place. And the end of the second movie is so eerie and just sets up a return of the creeper so well that I don't know why they would take this direction and take a step back into in between 1 and 2. Like, what the fuck were they thinking with that? That's just kind of a dumb idea altogether of what to do with this franchise. But yeah, it felt like a very cynical move on Victor Salva's part, and it doesn't help that it's also just a really bad movie. And again, on a technical level, it might be better acted, the effects might be better, although not by much. Look of the creeper's better. Breck is just always killing it as the creeper. It might be a more competently put together and helmed movie, but it's just more insulting than Jeepers Creepers 4. So now in third place, we got Jeepers Creepers 4 Reborn, and this is what most people would have at the bottom of their list, and I can see why. This movie is fucking stupid. The effects are terrible. The creeper's design and look is terrible. Just everything about it. It's a really bad movie, and they make so many bafflingly bizarre decisions just in character writing and dialogue and effects. Like, it's so goofy and stupid, but that's the thing though. That's why I feel like I can't get as mad at it as I do at Jeepers Creepers 3, because this movie's too stupid to insult. It's laughably bad. I have so much fun laughing at just the stupid parts of it because it's fucking goofy. I don't even know what to think sometimes. Like, it gets so ridiculous. And then it's like, even down to the parts where they're walking through a graveyard, I don't know why they really couldn't just construct a fake graveyard or walk in a real graveyard. I don't know why they really needed these guys walking in a CG graveyard. And I understand, they had COVID limitations, but it's outside. I don't know why that's any better than walking around in a green screen. But hey, that's his creative choice, not mine. But just going back to it, it's just, this movie feels like just goofy. I just can't get as mad at it. I don't feel as insulted or slighted by it as I do with 3. But it's also 2. It obviously has so much more limited potential than 3 had. You didn't have Breck as the creeper. You really didn't have any money behind it, which you did with the others. So this just puts it so behind. It's just in such a worse place than 3 was. It really just had no possible advantages. Even then, I am kind of surprised that they dropped the ball on this as bad as they did, because it was fucking bad. I don't think most people would argue with me on that, but I would still put it above 3 just because I'm less angered and insulted by it. And again, it's just too laughable, too goofy, and the effects are too bad, and it's more fun to watch because of that. So for number 2, this actually is probably going to be another controversial pick, but I have Jeepers Creepers 1 actually for number 2. What this movie does so well, and right off the bat, this movie is leagues above the bottom 2. Not even the same ball game, not even the same sport. This movie is just masterfully crafted with this creature. You don't know exactly what it is throughout most of the movie, and what I love so much about it is that it keeps itself very restrained for a lot of the movie with this creeper. It allows you to kind of let your mind do the work about whether it's an animal or a person or a monster or what. You really don't exactly know until you finally get to see the whole thing at the end of the movie and see what it really wants. That's what it does so well. It's also just acted really well. You really buy into this brother-sister relationship. You also buy into the terror that they experience while dealing with this thing. There's a few things that are a little goofy about it, things that don't age well, but did a huge service to the creeper by keeping it in the dark and kind of letting the audience craft this image and kind of put things together naturally and slowly. And it really is one of the best horror movies and horror concepts to come out in the last 20 years. So it's a very good movie. I really enjoy it. Controversy aside, it is a movie that I still really enjoy. So now for number one, my favorite Jeepers Creepers movie is Jeepers Creepers 2. So this movie really ramps up the action and the terror, the body count. There's a lot about this movie that really escalates the plot and the horror. It takes the Aliens approach to Alien kind of, where the first one was more restrained, smaller scale. You really were only dealing with these two siblings, kind of dealing with the creeper and just things and situations that happen with that. But this time, you get a whole bus of kids and they're stranded on a deserted highway, and it just ups the ante so much. You also have the added intensity of the fact that the creeper is on its last day of its cycle, so that kind of adds a frantic element to it, and the fact that the creeper's a lot more unhinged and less restrained than he'd usually be, and that he was in the first movie. So you kind of get to see him really rampage through this bus and take kids out left and right. It's really good. It's a very enjoyable monster movie. It's just an absolute classic. I also love the characters of the Taggarts. They just add such a compelling element and heart to the center of this movie, and you really feel how much this guy just wants to avenge his son. You feel so sorry for him. These are just characters that I really fell in love with, and I really hoped that they would bring them back to some capacity in 3 or 4, but 3 and 4 decided to be 3 and 4, so we're just kind of left with what we got. But what we did get with 2 is just a sequel that really takes the concepts and runs with it. I think it fully realizes things a lot better this time, and you get to see more how the creature works. You also get to see a little bit more of how his power is relative to the normal human being. Also, what weapons can take it down, what hurts it, how to deal with it. It just fires on all cylinders, and I think that this is the best Jeepers Creepers movie because of that. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my ranking of all 4 Jeepers Creepers movies. I want to hear in the comments what you guys think. Am I wrong about 2? Am I wrong about 3 or 4? Let me know. Talk to you guys next time.